Welcome to the Driving Forward podcast. It's Thursday, January 30th, 2025. Whether you're joining us live or listening on one of our 18 platforms, including Wreaths Across America Radio, where we broadcast every Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. We appreciate your support. Next week, we have two episodes coming up. We haven't done two episodes in 1 week in some time. February 5th, David Heller and Xander Gamble from the Truckload Carrier Association will be on. David is the Senior Vice President of Safety and Government Affairs, and Xander is the Vice President of Membership and Outreach. We'll be talking about all things TCA, including Truckload 2025, which is coming up in about 6 weeks. February 6th, the following day, we have Lindsay Trent on from Next Gen Trucking. Lindsay is doing some amazing things assisting fleet owners in better managing their fleets, mitigating risks, and reducing their costs while increasing profits. If you're attending Manifest, we're kicking off the Freight Movement and BCS Big Road Tour. Come join us and our partners at Black Tap on the Venetian Casino floor from 7 to 10 p.m. Monday evening. There's limited space, so sign up now. We'll post the Eventbrite link in the comments. The following day, so Tuesday, we're going to be live at Manifest. We'll have a great discussion about leadership, sales, and security with Nick Darman, the CEO from Elvis. We'll also be talking about Elvis's unique approach and story. If you're not familiar with it, you'll want to listen in. All right, now on to our show. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I thought it would be fitting. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, transportation pros and logistics warriors, get ready to buckle up because tonight, or today, we have a heavyweight champion of the freight world stepping in. Hailing from the windy city of Chicago, this man has spent over 15 years dominating the sales and logistics game. He's not just any recruiter. He's the talent titan, the sales strategy specialist, the king of career building. Before launching his latest Powerhouse journey, he co-founded and built MoLo Solutions from the ground up, turning it into a billion-dollar juggernaut with over 900 employees. He's the master of onboarding, the sultan of sales training, and the undisputed champion of talent development, creating winning teams and shaping the next generation of logistics legends. And if that isn't enough, he's also an investor and partner at Shipper CRM, proving that when it comes to innovation in logistics, he's always 2 steps ahead of the competition. So get on your feet, raise your voices, and give a thunderous driving forward welcome to the man, the myth, the logistics legend, Will the Talent Titan Jenkins.
Man,
welcome to the show, buddy.
Listen, I need you to come with me to all meetings, just maybe the gym, generally life. If that's the type of intro I'm getting with Nate, we got to be just locked in. Thank you so much. That was wild.
Well, welcome to the show, man.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So we've got a whole bunch of comments already. We'll cycle through them as they go, but really appreciate you coming on the show. I haven't done one of those in a while, and I was considering how I was going to bring you on, and I like to put some thought into that, and I thought, Will needs one of these. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm like, Will really does. So
that was incredible.
That's fun. I like doing those, and I need to do more of them actually. So, but so let's kick this off. everybody, and not everybody, we have a kind of an interesting following of people. So let's do the overview of who Will Jenkins is, because our following might not actually, it's not the logistics side. So there are some logistics folks that follow, but let's do a 5-minute overview of who Will Jenkins is. I don't want to necessarily dive too deep into the past, but let's do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
so let's roll.
Beautiful. So I am from Chicago. I grew up in Maywood, west side of Chicago. I played football in college. That's like a big part of who I am. I got my football helmet back here, big athlete. I started in sales at 18. My first job out of college, well, first job in college before my freshman year was selling Cutco kitchen cutlery. And I always share that story because it was key to me understanding how to build a book of business, handle objections, really battle adversity. So I worked at that organization for 4 years during my time at Illinois Wesleyan. I ran an office. That's what got the entrepreneurial itch going. I was like, man, this is really cool. You can build something out of nothing. So I've been in sales for 16, going on 17 years now. And I got into freight in January of 2014. So prior to that, my first job out of college was with Kimberly-Clark Professional. Funny enough, a couple of my really good friends were business development sales reps at Coyote. I was leaving Kimberly-Clark, looking for a new place to go work, and they were having a good time. They had a lot of good things to say about the organization. I interviewed there in the fall of 2013, got a carrier sales role. And I was like, dude, I love this, right? Like I could be on the phone all day. I love selling to people. And I was used to selling people things that didn't want them, like true cold sales. And joining the carrier sales side, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I get to talk to people who bought equipment with the intention of using it, and we just have to negotiate the rate. I was like, this is really cool. So took off on the carrier side. That was fun. Ended up getting an opportunity to join the customer sales side. I managed a group of green, brand new BD sales reps. This was spring or January of 2016. And then throughout that time, just learned more about freight in general. I met a couple of my business partners during my time at Coyote. These are the people I had the opportunity to start MoLo with. I started working on that business in April of 2017. Prior to that, I had a short stint with Transport America. So I left Coyote, went Transport America for a little bit, had the opportunity to start talking about building MoLo. And I was like, man, let's go ahead and do this thing, right? Like, might as well take a bet on ourselves. And we started the business officially July 5th, 2017. Had the opportunity to build that business for 4 years before we exited. We sold that business to ArcBest November of 2021. And during my time, was there for 6 years. But during my time there, I built our training program. So entry-level onboarding, carrier sales, general tech type stuff, just introduction to freight. And then I also had the opportunity to build out our initial BD, so customer-facing sales training. Trained the first 200 people we hired. I stood up our team in Colombia, which is really cool. And then I stayed on for about 18 months after ArcBest bought the business. So that deal closed November 21. And man, I really wanted to see us get to $1 billion in revenue. Like, I don't know how many times I'll have a chance to say that I co-founded $1 billion company. So we did that in 2022. And then I left in May of 23 to travel. I spent the summer in Europe traveling. And then I started my new business journey. We are a recruiting, consulting, and training company. Most of my relationships are with owners and CEOs like yourself in the brokerage space. So we either help them place talent, we come in and help them build strategy for their organizations. And then we have a few training products that we license. And that part is something I have a big passion for. I think I had really good coaches and trainers. And so it's like near and dear to my heart. I really love that side of our business.
And the training side of the business is within the last year, right? You
Yeah.
that within the last year. How's that been going? You have how many? I mean, you've reached out to a lot of companies now. I mean, is that kind of growing fast or
very fast? So the training side of our business is actually the largest. It is not the largest. It is the fastest growing side of our business today. We just completed a very large implementation of one of our training products with a top 20 provider in the space to give them an AI role-playing environment for reps to practice on demand so they could call Nate Johnson, the director of transportation at Caterpillar. That's the scenario we set up. Yep. And in the sandbox environment, you get to role play and the bot responds exactly how you'd expect someone in that seat who's a customer to respond. You can do a cold call, a warm call, a discovery call, a QBR, a check-in. but we just finished an implementation last Friday. We have 2 of the top 20 freight brokerages on the tool today, and then 2 others that are in contract talks right now. But that side is going crazy. So you'll see quite a lot of that with that particular product, primarily because it's tough to set up good role play scenarios. You want to get people comfortable. And if you're going to go hire people, whether they have experience or they're green, you got to get your repetitions. Like you really do have to practice.
Right.
So I just, that excites me. So that side's going crazy right now.
I agree. I never identified myself as a salesperson. Actually, I sucked at net new sales. And I started a business back in 2006, a trucking company. And I ran a large trucking company. I mean, you'd identify it as a large trucking company today. We had over 1,000 employees. I had about 1,300 employees. And, one would think I was good at sales. I was excellent at account management. But if you asked me to walk in and do a net new sale, I couldn't do it. And when I started my new company, I struggled with that. And it was because I had salespeople. You asked me to go in and speak with an existing customer or a prospect, I could do it very well. I have no issue whatsoever, but trying to open that door, I struggled with. Fast forward 20 years nearly later, I'm different about it. Now I consider myself very good at it, but that's because I took so many reps. I've taken so many reps now, and I've been told no 10 million times. I understand what I need to do, but I would have loved to have that sort of AI tool. And I've heard about the tool. I've not actually seen it yet. So at some time I need to take a crack at it and see.
We'll use it at Manifest.
Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to that. That'll be great. So,
So
all right. Your career's been about building companies, building teams, building people. But if we strip away all the success, all the revenue, the acquisitions, what is the most meaningful moment of your journey that truly defined who you are today?
That is such a thoughtful question. I appreciate you asking. So I have a couple. It's kind of hard to quantify. I'll start first with the one that matters the most. So this is the number 28. It's my brother's football number. I played football at Illinois Wesleyan. He played football at Augustana. He's 5 years older than me. So we were staggered. We never competed against each other. He's way bigger than me. So probably, I don't know, might've been a tough look for the 5-year younger brother, but he played at Augustana. I played at Wesleyan. And my brother passed away of cancer in 2017. He was diagnosed in August of 2013. And so that was incredibly challenging as a 23-year-old to learn that someone that you grew up with, that you love deeply, is now faced with just the craziest scenario ever. And like, they're probably not going to be around soon. And so that took a lot out of me at a young age, but it also taught me a ton about how to appreciate what you have and make the most of your opportunities. And so there were so many things along the journey of building MoLo and working through things and seeing the business continue to grow that, to be honest with you, man, had I not gone through what I went through, watching my brother battle and be the best older brother and the best example ever, played semi-pro football, gave back a ton, huge mentor for people during the worst time of anyone's life, anything that you could ever consider, it's the worst time, always giving back constantly. And so there was a point, an inflection point where we didn't really know what was going to, like, man, does he have another year? Like, what's going on? This is like spring of 2016. And he bounced back so well and continued to play ball. Was just, if you didn't know he was sick, you would have known. And seeing that, to me, told me everything I needed to know about how I approach life. Someone that I love is making the most of the time they have. And he passed away in 2017. And for him to teach me those lessons, I feel like I have to go and win and do things at a particular clip, because someone that I care about deeply no longer has the opportunity to do that. So it taught me intentionality. It taught me how to appreciate things. So that was a big moment, just to learn about life is really, really big. I have some other ones, but that colors the context of how I look through life every single day.
No, to have that lesson early on is super invaluable. I think everybody looks back on life, and I got a few years on you. Everyone looks back and have those inflection points, kind of those points that drive them forward. And to call it from the podcast, but that's largely why I picked the name of the podcast, because everything that you look at pushes you forward, and there's those moments in life.
Yeah.
So that's a great. I mean, that's a tough time, to lose someone that you're that close to at that point in your life. But
I mean,
I appreciate that.
So glad to share. I feel like it makes me who I am. And also building a business is tough. Like working through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship are really challenging. And there were times where we were building MoLo where I'm like, man, like this is a lot, right? Do you got the gas in the tank to keep this thing going? And looking back at going through that, I'm like, man, if I can deal with that, I can deal with anything. Like put your head down,
Right.
You can deal with it. So, would never want anyone to have to go through that, but I'm appreciative of what I learned as a result of it. There's other more fun things, like we were on site with a client. This is a cool journey thing, like on site with a client last Friday, implementing the AI role-playing tool. And to be there with the team, working on this massive implementation with a really large top 20 player that trusts us to come in and give them a tool that can help them execute L&D more effectively. That's like the craziest full circle moment. Like I'm looking around at the team and we're sitting here. I'm like, this is crazy. So that was really cool. That's fresh.
No, I can completely relate to that. I mean, I'm on business number 5. I have several that are still in operation right now, and one that's we're just launching freight movement right now, so that's infantile. But I'm on business number 5, and one of them failed. One of them definitely failed, and I learned a ton from that. More than that was an extremely painful moment and expensive, but I wouldn't change it. That I wouldn't change it. It was very painful. And then I've also built other people's businesses from very small, like 40, 50% operations to large operations. And I know exactly what you're talking about. There were moments where we grew by 20, $30 million. 1 month, we had a run rate of 60 or $70 million. The next month we're 20, 30 million more. And I literally came out of the office, drove down the road, parked, and just started bawling my eyes out. So, cause you're like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a sign of surrender. It was just simply like, emotionally, how do you deal with that? And so when I talk about, reveling in chaos, it's, you learn how to fit into that and to just let it roll off you and understand that you can fit in those worlds, and there's nothing wrong with feeling uncomfortable. It's okay. And so to go back in and be in one of those top 20 and see that training come around, and now it's your baby that's doing it, and it's your thing, and you're seeing it that kind of evolve. That's got to be a blast.
So cool, man. And also just really appreciative of the team and the way they approach opportunities and the bar that they set expectation wise for how we execute for customers. Man, that nothing gets me more excited than seeing that, because all of this is a collective effort, and to start to see those wheels turn and start to see traction, that's the type of stuff that gets you going. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So next big question, and a lot of this, I mean, so I'm sure a lot of the questions I'm gonna come back to you on. We can go back to your brother on, because that's a foundation point for you, I'm sure. So if you were, and how do I craft this? If you if you were going to start over today and you had all the knowledge that you have today, but you have no connections, you have all the knowledge, but no connections, no capital, and no reputation. So what would be the first thing that you do to rebuild your success, and what would drive you to keep going?
Man, love this question. So the first thing I'll talk about will be going the route of staying in freight and transportation. So if I knew what I know and I'm like, all right, this is a great niche, great space, lots of opportunity, I would go and find a way to be involved in an organization, probably growth stage, 100 million to 300 million, still figuring it out. But they've got couple things going on. It's scrappy. There is growth potential. And I would do something very similar that as I did before and just get on the floor, like get on the carrier floor and just sling freight and build a name, understand the ins and outs of how that business worked, and make myself available to create opportunity inside the business. And can I help coach reps? Once I show you that I know how to do this, can I get involved in other parts of the business? Like really, really start to build those relationships and then see where that takes me opportunity wise. Is there a chance to help scale this business? Is there a chance to go and build a branch? Is there a chance to take this experience and then go build something else, right? If I knew everything that I knew today about it, I also would approach the business significantly more strategically because I understand the long-term outcomes. If the desired result is to get to an exit or raise a certain amount of money or just to get to a certain revenue threshold, and you do it once, I'm not going to say it's easy. I will say that you have seen some pitfalls that you would avoid. So pivot things, structure things a little bit differently. I love our industry. I think it has so much to offer. I think that it is a massive space if you understand how to attack a niche and if you understand how to provide service at a particular level. So I probably would go and do something very similar as I did. I probably would consider getting on the customer side sooner. I spent 2 years on the carrier side and I loved it. It taught me really the ins and outs of how to build a career in freight, but understanding how to sell to shippers now, I could go and build a book of business relatively quickly, just understanding how that whole thing plays, which I wasn't really equipped to do at 23 at first. Like I could sell, but I don't know that I was equipped to talk to, big shippers about that. So that's probably the first thing. If it weren't freight, it'd be real estate. I love real estate. I'm fascinated by it. They're not making any more land really, so if you can find a way to be in the right places, whether it's an agent or a firm or you build I think there's a ton of opportunity there. That would be pretty cool to build. That'd be the only industry. Like I love freight, but real estate, I don't know, man, it kind of plays.
Yeah, I'd be doing both, to be honest with you. I mean, even just buying the right real estate, just a real estate investment to me fascinates me. Picking up land, it never goes down. So
100%.
Whether I'm buying and selling it, that's one thing. But I don't necessarily. Just everybody I know that owns property seems to be doing all right. So
they're not doing bad.
Right. Now, office complexes, I'm not so sure about today, but
those are hurting.
Right. Right. So, but outside of that, I agree with you. The property and real estate in general is definitely not a bad choice. So appreciate the answer to that question. Curious how you're going to answer to that. The same path. That's a great answer. So generally the same path.
It worked out well. So there would be maybe a way to do it more efficiently, but I like what I've been in freight since 2014. So 10, 11, I like what the last 11 years have been. So I'd run it back.
Yeah, fair enough. So that's a pretty good trajectory in 11 years. So,
it's been good.
Can't go wrong with that. So,
All
right. So rolling it back on the path that brought you here, we covered some of this too, but let's go back to where you started a business. So you started MoLo to now, and we talked about some difficulties, but what's a moment or what is the moment that has tested you most and how has it shaped you? So from the business leadership side on, what's tested you the most and how has it shaped you to the way that you lead today?
I think one challenge is understanding how to scale and maintain a particular level of quality. So if you build your brand in brokerage around service, which most people do, you have to be able to deliver. And so as we were building MoLo, our value proposition primarily was we are going to do what we said we're going to do. If we told you the rate, we're going to honor that rate. We're going to honor the scorecard and KPIs. We're going to do the things that most people try to skirt around. Like, we got you. We're going to do the things we said we're going to do. I don't know, man. That's not that hard when you have 10 people. It's a little harder when you got 350. And it's a little bit harder when you got 500. And it's a little bit harder when you got 700, right? Because when you're I remember sitting in our office in River North that was across from Howl at the Moon on Hubbard, and it was above, so funny, the most startup thing ever. Our office was at 25 West Hubbard, and it was a shared, not our office wasn't shared, we shared the bathroom and the kitchen with another startup, but there was a club or a bar below us. And like every Thursday, they'd be like testing the speakers and like the floors. I'm like, this is crazy. But anyway, you're like in that room working with the team, and they all get to hear you talk to carriers and customers. So they learn by osmosis. It's easier to do when it's small.
Right.
So they see the focus, they see the passion, they see the integrity, they understand why and how you do. Cause like we're all in it. It's cradle to grave, basically the first like 6 months. I'm calling customers, I'm calling carriers, I'm booking freight, scheduling loads, because you're trying to get this thing to be an actual business. It's easier to maintain the integrity of the service when everybody's in one room, because quality control is really easy to maintain. Man, you start getting 2 offices or 3 floors, you got 300, 400, 500 people. Right. That'll test you, right? Because you go out on the road and you're selling shippers. This is what we're going to do. I'm putting my neck out there telling you what I'm going to go do for you, while 21,000 other people call you and tell you the same. And then I get the load and I fail on it. Right? I call you and tell you I can't take it. The market is, it's never going to work, right? So that'll test you, because it's hard to scale the quality. We were able to do it, but like, dude, long nights, very stressful.
Guaranteed. I used to joke about this internally 20 years ago, actually more than 20 years ago. Guaranteed, I'll go sell $2 million in freight, or we'll close on a $2 million account. We'll come back, we'll fail on the first load. Just 100% chance. So because you cannot communicate. I mean, we would struggle with that. It wasn't 100% of the time, but it was just that difficulty when you scale. When you're smaller, you have that hands hold approach to it, where I have this, I'm going to walk through it. The sales rep or account reps are going to babysit that thing, because it's a big deal to them. But you're rolling in freight and it just doesn't get handled the same way. And I agree with you. It gets more difficult, but then at some point you look at it and you, as a larger organization, you kind of have to draw that line and say, this can't continue to happen, or we're just going to be like everyone else. So
correct.
But yeah, there was a point where in a couple companies that I ran, where it was almost comical. We would sign new customers and it would be that way. You have to fix it. You have to.
It's such a problem. Yeah. And so like,
absolutely,
that'll test you to your limits for sure.
So Raquel, sorry, I have tongue twister, asked a question here on wanting to know what the other 5 books are other than Traction. So
okay. So I love Traction. We implemented EOS here at Journey, and it's been incredibly effective. The whole team owns some kind of department level metric or something for their role. But this one is called the Like Switch, Like, the Like Switch. It is by Jack Schaefer, and he was an FBI negotiator, and he used to flip spies. Have you read that book?
I'm familiar with the book and him. I think he did a masterclass.
He's a stud. So really, really good book. I love that one. Probably read it like once a year. Sapiens is really good. I think it's interesting to just think about how like we became people and went from like, being in a cave to having society. It's really interesting. One of my favorite books is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. So this one here, I love Nike. I love the brand. I love the origin story of Nike. And then I like design type stuff. So this is a book. Virgil Abloh was a designer, passed away a few years ago, but he was the head director at Louis Vuitton. And then he did a lot of stuff with Nike too, which is pretty cool. And then this book is The Mamba Mentality by Kobe, because Kobe and Tom Brady are my 2 favorite athletes. I think the mentality that they brought to the game is the reason why they were who they were. And so I love stuff like that.
Perfect. I think that's a good segue. So great answer. Hopefully that got what you needed out of that, Raquel. Great segue for us to take a little break, 3 minutes. We'll be back. We're going to run a little commercial. Sorry to catch you off guard, Natalia. If your fleet's downtime looks like chaos, you're missing out on GLCS. In the fast-paced world of trucking and logistics, time is everything. Meet GLCS, your expert partner in managed IT services. We integrate seamlessly with your team, bringing seasoned IT professionals with deep transportation and logistics expertise. Imagine your software updates running smoothly, complex issues resolved quickly, and operations humming with efficiency. GLCS has your back. Our support doesn't just fix problems, it prevents them. With our industry connections and proactive approach, we keep your trucks rolling and your brokers working. Think of us as the added resource your company needs to unleash its full potential. Visit glcs.net today and keep your business driving forward. GLCS, where efficiency meets expertise.
So Manifest is the premier global end-to-end supply chain technology event. We are an ecosystem event attracting startups, investors, and industry strategics. Truly anyone involved in global supply chain has a place at Manifest. For next year, we're expecting 6,000 attendees from more than 50 countries. We will be offering 150 conference sessions, and there will be more than 300 exhibitors on our expo floor. And we're very excited because for the first time, we're moving to the Venetian in Las Vegas, which, if you ask me, is the best property in Vegas for a show. And our expo floor is unique because it offers so many opportunities to network and have fun with peers. We keep our audiences well hydrated with coffee bars. We have a beer garden. We have rosé all day. And if you don't like alcohol, we've got a mocktails area. You can pet a puppy. You can swing a golf club. You can play an arcade game on the Manifest Expo floor while browsing the latest technologies.
With nearly 6,000 supply chain leaders that are going to be in attendance, it's certainly the place to be. We'll have over 120 shippers that will be on stage. So you're going to see companies on the plenary stage like New Balance and Target.
So it's an event that focuses on innovation, content, networking, and an incredible show experience. So we're super excited about that and looking forward to welcoming thousands of supply chain experts.
And we are back, and we are waiting for Will to come back. There's Will. All right. Welcome back. All right, we'll kick it off with another question. So first off, if you guys have questions for Will on the back half here, send them on in. So we're happy to field them. Let's kick it off with a little bit of failure. So, yeah. So success stories are often built on moments of failure. I know when I look back, I look at those are that's certainly what defines me. So I wouldn't say it's what defines me, but it's certainly my several of my building blocks. So can you share a time when everything felt like it was falling apart, and how you found the strength to push through it?
I'm going to go back to the early days. So my summer, this would have been sophomore into junior year at Illinois Wesleyan, I had the opportunity to start an office for Cutco. The company that owns the Cutco brand is Vector Marketing. So I ran an office for Vector Marketing that summer. This would have been summer of 2010. And so I'm from Chicago. I had the opportunity to have the Chicago office, like Chicago proper, which is a pretty big deal. It's like a huge territory. The summer before that, I saved up about $10,000 as a manager in an office in Oak Brook and selling Cutco to open up my office. So I went through management training. I learned how to train sales reps and recruit and find your space. So I'm like amped up when Nate, I was ready to go. I'm like, this is gonna be the coolest thing ever. I learned how to build my little business. And so finish up at Wesleyan for the year. I opened up my office May-ish. And prior to even getting my office going, I had to write a check for rent prepaid for 3 months because nobody, at least the landlord, was like, dude, a 20-year-old didn't have money to pay for this office space. So I paid for my office space up front. We ended up having 3 receptionists and 2 assistant managers to help build out the office, which is pretty cool. And the office got started and I'm selling a little bit and my reps are selling, but it was not good. Like May was pretty bad. June was pretty bad. And so I'm running out of money. Like I saved all this money to run the office, but I anticipated I'd have some cash flow from the sales. And like, let me tell you, I did not. The cash flow was dry. And so I'm sitting in my office. At that point, my best friend was an assistant manager with me, which is like important. I'm trying to build this thing with him. It's really cool. And he's helped me out. And it's like, I'm not doing great. I'm not training reps well enough. They are not staying around long. Like, it's just not good. So I call my division manager. His name is Mike Muriel. Shout out Mike. He's a legend in the Cutco realm. And I'm like, dude, I'm like maybe 2 weeks out of money. Like I don't have any more cash to pay my receptionist. I'm in like a really bad spot. And Mike's a tough coach. Like I worked with him a little bit before, but now I reported directly to him. I had a different manager before, but he's the division manager. So like, as you're a branch manager, he's your guy. And he's like, man, look, I don't know what to tell you. You got to figure it out. Right. There was like, Mike didn't love me. He didn't hug me up and be like, all right, you'll be, he's like, no, you got to figure it out. And that was at that point, I was 20. I was probably like the first time I really failed. You know, like I was a good student. I got an academic scholarship to Wesleyan, 4.0 plus in high school. I was the captain of all the sports I played. Like I'm locked in. I want to win. I'm used to that. So your boy was not winning. I was losing hand over fist. It was not good. So I'm just sitting there at my desk in tears, like you were talking about pulling over to your car. I'm in tears. Like, and I worked so hard to get here and I'm going to shut my office down. I got to tell all these people that I recruited that this place is done. And so I think there was something mentally maybe that was kind of freeing about the fact that I had hit rock bottom, at least at like a young 20-year-old age. And after that, we just started cooking. I just like, it's like the shackles came off, man. I was like, man, what's the worst that could happen, right? I got a training class coming up. Like, do your best. Train these reps up. Do everything you can to make sure they know how to sell this product and like get going. And I had a rep in one of the next training classes that sold 10 grand in his first 10 days and ended up being one of the top performers for the summer and ended up hiring like 2 more reps that did the same thing. And so by the end of the summer, I actually learned this retroactively. Ended up doing like 140 grand in revenue over 8 or so weeks. And it was one of the top, it wasn't the top, it was just one of the top branches.
Sure.
And the country is just really cool. But like, dude, that was hard. I was ready to quit. I'm like, this is a wrap. But at an early age, from a business perspective, I saw like, it's not always going to be roses and butterflies and you have to figure out a way to persevere. So that taught me a lot.
Yeah. The other noteworthy thing on that is even when you're up against the ropes, you're not done.
You're not.
Yeah. Until you're down, you're not done. So
exactly. So sometimes
absolutely.
tough love, sometimes tough love works. So
yeah, absolutely. So Bane's wondering what you're looking forward to most at Manifest and then following up with that overall 2025. So let's start with the Manifest question. What are you looking forward to at Manifest?
Man, Bane, you already know the answer to this. It's that Tuesday morning workout that we're going to get.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah, I heard about that early, and that's following that freight movement event Monday night.
Tuesday morning, we're in the gym moving some weight. So that is, I can't wait. That's going to be sick.
So cool. How about 2025? What are you looking forward to most there?
So I'm excited about the first full year of all of the services we offer here at Journey. So when we launched the business November of 23, November 27th, recruiting was the only thing that we did. And as my non-compete fell off, we had the opportunity to start the consulting side and then start the training side. Now, 2025 will be the first full year of all of the services. And it's so fun working with these different companies on one of the services. But typically, our clients use 2 or all 3 services, which is a ton of fun. So
Yeah.
they might come to us and say, hey, we need help with recruiting, or, we could use a training help or whatever it might be. That's wherever the entry point is, but tons of different ways to be helpful to them. And that just, it wasn't an option last year until my non-compete was over. So this, it's fun, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what our business looks like as a result of that. And I mentioned it earlier. I think the AI role-playing tool that we have is the best place for people to train reps, specifically customer sellers, to learn how to do their job. And you will see quite a lot of that over the next 12 months.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that continue to develop. So
yeah.
Do you feel like if you would have started Journey with all of those business offerings that you would have done that, or would you have just offered one or two services or a different service offering in the beginning?
I like recruiting as an entry point because I think it is a bleeding neck issue for most organizations. Finding and retaining good talent is about as mission critical as there is. So I think it's a good place to start. Had I been able to do the other things, I certainly would have, just out of pure enjoyment. It's really cool to help people structure their businesses and be able to put in place the right strategy for them to go build. So I would have done it. It would have been fun, but I'm glad that we started with recruiting, because it's really hard to go find good talent. And sometimes we work with some large, really cool companies that everyone knows. And we also work with some smaller organizations that are incredible, and people just don't know how incredible they are. And so to help them go and find the right types of talent, and then see those people, both the companies and owners, succeed, and then the individuals get the opportunities, that stuff's just fun. So I think recruiting, it was a good entry point for us.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. You've built companies, you've trained hundreds of people, shaped careers. What's one lesson that you wish you'd taught, or you wish someone had taught you earlier in your journey? I'm trying to pull journey out as often.
Yeah. Thank you. I would say that you have to bet on yourself and be willing to fail. Can't be afraid to fail. You are going to, it's inevitable. And if you're not failing, you're probably not trying things that are hard enough or that are pushing you, because I've started businesses that went under and just didn't work. I've tried to grow and do things that just didn't work. And it was just learning lessons. So I actually wish I would have started that sooner, maybe started my entrepreneurial journey sooner. I was 26 going on 27 when we started MoLo, but there are things that I was capable of doing, and maybe not specifically brokerage or transportation, just other entrepreneurial ventures that I could have been able to do. And a lot of it just comes down to confidence, or just truly being afraid to fail. Oh my gosh, what happens if? Honestly, that's kind of the story of MoLo. What happens if, except it worked, right? Where would I be right now if we hadn't, stepped up and took that swing? I'd rather bet on it. And if it doesn't work, man, at least have a really cool story. I learned a lot, and, dust yourself off and keep going. It's okay.
No, I take the same approach. So, there's ways I approach startups now. I'm a serial founder, apparently, as I
sure are.
Things go, but which is to my detriment in some kind of cases, because they take a lot of time. But there's approaches that you can take that sort of limits that risk, and you understand what your financial risk is on them, as opposed to these huge, massive investments. So you can take various approaches, and there's strategies behind them that don't expose you in such large ways. But for the first time investor, you're leaving your full-time job, you're leaving that employment. It's a thing. So it's a leap of faith. So it absolutely is. And I remember in 2006 when I took that first leap, that was a big deal for me. So it was absolutely big. I went out and I bought 8 trucks, and that was my first thing. I bought 8 trucks, put them on the road, started them going. By the end of the year, I was up to 25, something like that. And
wow,
it was just keep chugging along. And hindsight, it went really well for 3 years straight, and then it exploded in a fiery ball. But So but for 3 years straight made a ton of money, or not a ton of money. Nobody makes a ton of money in 3 years in trucking, but it did well. So
It's awesome, man.
yeah. So fair enough. Good answer on that one. If you could sit down with your younger self, so with the young Will Jenkins, just starting out in the industry, or actually just starting out. So going back to even Kimberly Clark, you were marketing Kimberly Clark, right? That's what
Sales.
Sales. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So what's one thing that you tell yourself about the road ahead? So whatever, good, bad, whatever, what's some advice that you'd give yourself coming up?
You know, when you watch a movie and they have the montage of like all the stuff that happens for that main character, and it's like them in a later life, and things are crazy and it's sad sometimes and it's happy sometimes. Like, I probably would have prepared myself for that a little bit better. Not to say that I wasn't prepared. Like, I got the best parents in the world. I love them so much. They helped me understand how to be a responsible adult, and how to be a good student, and how to commit myself to things that I wanted to go and build. And like, they put me in a really good spot. I am like eternally grateful for them. But man, sometimes like you just don't know what life is going to throw at you. And you may think that you know a lot, and you most certainly do not. And I probably had, too big of an ego, or like thought I was better at stuff than I probably was, and hadn't paid my dues. And like, life will humble you quick. And so I think I probably would have told myself, like, understand that there are going to be ups and downs, and there will be more ups than downs. That's just part of the game, though. Like, you need to be prepared to just keep pushing, because I don't know that I handled downs poorly, but like, they sucked. Like, they're just very not fun. So just, get a little mental preparation for like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So be prepared.
Oh, agreed. And the downs absolutely are tough. So I don't know if you can ever fully prepare for the downs, to be honest with you. Even when you think you found out how to figure out the downs, you find out that there's a bigger down than what you expected. What you have to do is learn that the highs can't be as high, and that the lows can't be as low. And then the mids are just, yay, you win. And oh, I lost. So,
Totally.
And you end up being just a happy person. So, and
exactly.
Try to remain in the middle somewhere.
My college football coach, who just retired after 37 or 38 years as the head coach at Wesleyan, shout out Coach Ash. He used to say, nothing's ever as good as it seems, and nothing's ever as bad as it seems. And at 18, I didn't really know how to process that information. I was like, what's this dude talking about? But, you win a game, fantastic, appreciate it. You got to go watch film for next week. You lose a game, hey, you should have done things to help you win that game. You got to go watch film. You got a game next week.
Yeah. The two great statements, and one is they both mean the same thing, and one is, and this too shall pass. But to follow that is, but did you die? So, that's very true. I mean, this, no matter what you're in, you're going to make it to tomorrow. And if you don't, you really don't have to worry about it anyway.
That is correct.
Raquel has another question. She's wondering about supportive communities, and if you have a specific community or group that you recommend. And I probably have a couple of answers to that, but if you have an answer for that, go for it.
So I don't have one that I would call on as a specific group or community, but I would say having people in your circle who are also entrepreneurs, whether they be years ahead of you or peers, is super important, because it's a crazy journey. And so having people to lean on and just understand, having people who understand what you're going through is important. But I don't necessarily have a group where I'm like, hey, join this local chapter of XYZ community, but building one with people around you, man, is super important.
Agree on that generic. I guess that's kind of a generic answer, so I don't want to sound like I'm. So and my generic answer is, there are, if you're, and I don't know you, Raquel, but if there's industry groups, there's TCA, TIA, there's ATA, there's all kinds of state organizations, and they have various business leaders within them that can provide various different advice. So beyond that, there's founders groups, there's business leaders groups within local communities. If you're within transportation logistics, there's Nate Schute's group within, it's called Ballast. That's a great organization. I'm a member of that. So, you know, they're out there, and there's a lot of, you have to find the one that's right for you, and that you get out of it what you want to get out of it. So sometimes you have to shop around to find what you're looking for. But I found a great experience in those type of organizations where you can kind of open up, put your problems out there that you're working on, and talk with other business leaders that are struggling with issues, and you can help them solve their problems, and they can help you solve their problems in kind of an open, safe format. So, Journey, you have a heck of a team,
man.
So,
Best team ever.
Yeah. I don't know them very well, and I just, I've only met a couple of people, but let's talk about that a little bit. You've brought that team on. Let's just take the mic for a minute and talk about the team at Journey.
It's my favorite thing to talk about because I love our team. They're incredible. So I'll go to the first two people that we started building a business with. So launched Journey November 27th. And a month or so before that, I had the opportunity to reconnect with a friend. Her name's Maya Quijada. Shout out Maya. She was just promoted to head of business ops because she's a legend. So it's a big deal.
Chiming in here too. So
yeah, she's great. So Maya and I go way back. I've known her for 9 years now. We worked on a couple of different businesses together, but nothing in a full-time capacity. And I think we both recognize that if we got a chance to really dig in on something, that it would be really, it would do well. And so when we first connected in October of 23, the thought was, hey, maybe help with some recruiting, screen candidates, do some sourcing, help me find the right types of people, maybe like general business ops type stuff. But, I don't really know where this thing is going. Like right now we're a recruiting company. She was like, sure, like I'll do it. And I knew she was incredibly organized and really capable. Like she's one of one as a business professional and an operator. Like she's the real deal. And so we get into the business and, clients start flowing in, we get more opportunities. And so she's building SOPs and processes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even really ask for that, but like, there's the process for the thing. And man, you know how it is when you're building a business, just like shooting from the hip, right? I'm just like doing stuff, bringing in clients and promising the world and stuff. And man, the glue that keeps this whole thing going is Maya Quijada. She's incredible. And so she's now been able to grow and take on more responsibility in the org. So now we have 3 distinct services we provide: recruiting, consulting, and training. And she oversees operations for each of those, interfacing with clients, interfacing with the internal team, making sure that things are executed as they need to be. And one of the things that I learned, I don't remember where I saw the quote, but it says, if you want to move fast, move at the speed of trust. And that's the way I feel about the team we have here, because there's never a second thought or second question. Like me and Maya talk about something, I got to get something done. She's got to get something done. I don't need to check on it. Like there's not is it going to be done at the clip it's supposed to be? That work is A1 every single time. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool to have, and someone that I've known for a very long time, but also to be able to like build this business together with her. So that's been amazing. And then Erin Sweeney is a friend of mine. She's been with us since day one as well. Her and I went to college together. She played softball at Illinois Wesleyan and was an ad agent. She was in advertising. That's where she built her career. And so we had stayed in touch post-college, but not a lot of active work together. We see each other in the city and, chat and we're cordial, but just never like really dug in on our skill sets or like what could be complementary. And then I left MoLo. We had already been talking about what she, was considering doing. Does she want to leave her business where she was at? She crushed it in the advertising space, but she wanted to be an entrepreneur as well. And so we're just, jamming back and forth about what she could build, what I'm thinking about building. And initially it was her to help with just strategy. She just approached me as we're chatting. She's like, hey, let me just like help you with PR and social strategy. Like, I think I could put a particular strategic lens on it that'll help you gain traction. And I was like, I don't know. Sure. Right. Like maybe. It was the best decision ever. Like the level of expertise we get from someone that is executive level, high level, like best of the best. For us to be able to have that type of reach in the space, I think is unique. And so I am just so appreciative to have someone of her caliber on the team. And every day she's bringing new creativity, coming up with new things that we're able to do for clients, new things that we're able to do for the team, stuff that just keeps us going as a group. So very, very lucky to have someone of her caliber. And she does help quite a lot on our consulting side. We don't talk a ton about this work, but we do a lot of marketing consulting. Some things you'll see from us over the next couple of months, like on site with clients, doing some creative direction type things. She leads all of that. And so seeing the responses from clients, this is a cool one. I think you'll like this. So last Friday, half of the team was on site in Minnesota. And then the other half of the team was on site in Chicago. And getting emails from a client that she's handling on site while, getting after it in Minnesota with the half of the team is just really cool to see her lead like that. So that's half the team. I got a couple more.
Fair enough. And if they're ever up in Minnesota, they got to reach out.
Yeah, I got to tell you about the other two real quick though. So
go.
So the next person we hired, Morgan McDermott.
Yep.
She was from the space. Previously was at a brokerage. Her and I met via LinkedIn. She's incredible. And I started telling her a little bit, probably summer of 23, while she was traveling in Europe and so was I. So we connected and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to build a recruiting company. Maybe we find some way to do some work together. She was like, oh, I could be open to that. So we just stayed in touch and it ended up working out really well that January of 24, she was ready to come on and join full time. She was our first full-time recruiter that we brought on. She's been incredible. She's got the most energy of any person I've ever met, which is
I've met Morgan. Yeah.
So much energy and she's very authentic, really good person. And so it's really cool to see her continue to grow and blossom. Like she loves to travel. Our team is all remote. She's able to do her thing. She's super productive, really good at what she does. And then we brought on Nikki Baton. She worked at a brokerage as well. I was recommended to her by a friend and we brought her on in March. Man, same kind of deal. Her and Morgan work incredibly well together. It's cool to see them in front of clients. Cool to see her continue to build her book of business and grow and develop. So very fortunate to have a great team. And then Erin has another person on her team named Valeria, and she lives in Colombia, which is pretty cool. So she's our junior marketing specialist. So a lot of the creativity you see behind our brand is a collaboration between Erin and Valeria. But we're fortunate to have all those great people.
We have an awesome team, and I see them interact online, and I've got to encounter and chat briefly with a few of them here and there at various events and conferences. So that's been fun. And I need to make, we're going to make one. We can't really talk about it. We're under a moratorium, but we're going to make one here in June. So I'll make that event in June. So, but one thing that I have forgotten about, because we've been sitting here engaged in conversation, is, we've got a little video of Will doing some karaoke back at F3. So it's a short little video, but we'll pop this one out here before I forget. And then I have one final question and then we'll wrap it up. So, but we'll throw this out here. It's just a couple seconds long. Sorry. I'm not sure what's going on there. Go ahead. Don't believe it, that's why. 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 That was a good night. If I would have had more time, I probably would have jumped up there, but I was a little busy that night. But yeah, the full video at some point, I don't know if I ever posted it out there. So I think somebody else from Freight Caviar or something had one too. But
Paul posted it. Yeah.
They had another one.
Yeah.
And I have one too. So they had a pretty good one though too. So I think I left them. I just had them. I left theirs run because what's the point of putting two up? They had a pretty good one too. So
yeah. Don't give the kid a microphone. I love to karaoke. don't let me get it.
I'm still warming up. I used to sing too a lot. So a lot. I was in bands. The Tuesday trips, that Tuesday trip that I do, which I haven't done in a little while, but the intro music to that is actually me singing. So it's I'm the audio for it. So
are we gonna collab on a song the next time there's karaoke?
We'll need to collab on that at some point. So I need to warm up a bit though. I gotta get my karaoke game going again. So I really do, and a couple of people here know that I need to. So Maya just commented again. So
she's the best.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know if I've met Maya either. So I'll
Will
meet
soon.
this. All right.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. She going to be at Manifest? Is that who's coming with you?
No, she won't be at Manifest, but we'll have more and more events that we all are together at. So it'll be good.
Perfect. Awesome. Final question. Then we'll wrap this one up. We'll go a little bit over here. At the end of the day, beyond all revenue, beyond growth, beyond success, what does legacy mean to you? And what do you want yours to be?
So the first thing to me that is incredibly important is to honor what my family has taught me, my mom and dad and my brother specifically. I have had an incredible support system. And so I want them to know that the sacrifices they made and the things that they taught me changed the trajectory of my life. And I think about them every single day. Every time I work on something, I text my mom and dad every day in the morning when I get up because I don't want to be, morbid or sad, but like at some point that's not going to be an option anymore. Right. And like having the opportunity to connect with them and just, say, I love you and stuff like that really matters to me. So I want them to know that they had the most impactful, the most important impact on my life. They are just incredible people that have put me in a position to be able to succeed, and I would not be here without them. So that part's really important to me. The second part I think is, maybe it's like a little gray area, there's no like quantifiable thing to it, but I want people to know that if they have, if we have the opportunity to work together, that they can count on me, that I'm the type of person that gets things done and they can trust. And they know that if I say I'm going to do it, I will, and I will communicate proactively if I'm unable to do it, and that I am going to do everything in my power to execute things at a high clip, because I think your brand and reputation, that stuff speaks for itself, and you want people to know that they can trust and rely on you. And to me, having a legacy like that would be really, really cool. And it would allow me to feel really good about the time that I've spent building and being around great people and contributing to what we have going on, in the industry and outside of that. So that's important to me.
I love that message. Couldn't have said it better myself. With that, I think we'll wrap it up. This has been an incredible conversation with the Will Jenkins. Yeah. Oh, first off, before I go into the closing, how do people get a hold of you?
I am really active on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is Will Jenkins, and the handle is Will Jenkins WCJ. That is also my social handle for Instagram and Twitter. And then my email is Will, WILL, at journeydelivers, DELIVERS.com. And hit me up on LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot me an email. Very active there. And then our company page is active across all socials as well. So any of those places are good.
Perfect. All right. Will Jenkins, his journey isn't just about building businesses. It's about building people, creating opportunities, and pushing through challenges with resilience and purpose. From scaling MoLo to launching Journey, Will has shown us that success isn't just measured in revenue or acquisitions, but in lives that are impacted along the way. The story is a testament to the power of hard work, vision, and never losing sight of the bigger picture. If there's one thing to take away from today, it's that no matter where you are in your journey, growth is always possible. Will, thanks for sharing your wisdom, your struggles, and your triumphs with us. I appreciate it. And to everyone listening, keep believing, keep learning, and as always, stay curious, stay informed, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and drive forward with purpose and innovation. Thanks for watching.